Hello, MCU fans! Today we're going to take a look at the delay to Doomsday and Secret Wars and how that impacts the overall Phase 6 and Phase 7 slates. There's a lot more going on than it seems at first. So, lots to discuss. Let's dive right in and see what we can find out. Don't forget we have a May contest running all month long. Be subscribed or leave a comment. You could win a book or a steelbook. Best of luck. And we have a membership option with lots of cool perks, so you might check it out in case you're interested. And make sure to hang around to the end of the video, and I'll discuss our Doomsday Countdown watch on the Discord. Alright, so both Variety and Hollywood Reporter have confirmed that Avengers 5 and 6 have been delayed by at least 6 months, from May to December. Alright, so there's no impact to the Phase 5 slate, obviously. Although, I am curious, is Ironheart the end of Phase 5 or the beginning of Phase 6? I don't know if we've ever officially gotten that answer. But notice anything in yellow is a TV show, red is a Marvel Studios movie, and we will see blue coming up, and that's Sony. Alright, so on to the Phase 6 slate. So, we know that these 4 entries are locked and loaded, right? They're going to happen. This is how we close out 2025. But before we get to Doomsday and Secret Wars, I want to mention that Marvel has now finally officially removed from their schedule the February 13th, 2026 date. I was keeping Blade there. I know there was no way it was going to happen. But still, they hadn't removed the date, and now they have. So we got to get rid of that, move everything around. And now that we have room down in the lower right-hand corner, I'm going to add in Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, because that has been officially announced for June 4th of 2027. And then Marvel removed yet another date from their calendar. Yep, November 6th of 2026 is officially gone, meaning Doctor Strange 3, which I was really hoping would come out before Secret Wars. Nope, we got to take that off the calendar. However, since we have space, I'm going to add in Spider-Man Noir. We don't know when that's coming out, other than it's sometime in 2026, so I'm going to put fall. If you have a different opinion on that placement, just let me know your thoughts on that. Okay, finally, let's talk about Doomsday and Secret Wars. So, we learned from the article that they're being pushed back over 6 months from May to December, respectively in 2026 and 2027. Okay, so first of all, let's open up spots in our calendar for December 18th, 2026 and December 17th, 2027. Then let's move Doomsday and Secret Wars into those spots. So why did I do it this way? Well, technically speaking, Marvel has not removed from their calendar those dates for potential movies. Instead, they're slots that could be filled with a new movie. Well, sort of, because we got to talk about May 1st, 2026. In a Variety article, they mentioned The Devil Wears Prada sequel has now moved into May 1st, 2026. Okay, so that one's out. Let's get that off the calendar. But May 7th, 2027, there's still a chance, right? There's still a chance. So I'm going to hold that one there until Marvel officially says that is not on their calendar anymore. Okay, now, let's talk about some of the remaining things that I haven't discussed that are in Phase 6. So we know we're getting Daredevil Born Again Season 2, and it's supposed to be around the same time frame as we got Season 1, so I'm putting March of 2026, and in fact, I need to add the Punisher special presentation, and that seemingly is coming out before Born Again. I'm not sure on that. Let me know your thoughts if you've heard something different. We know we're getting Vision Quest, we just don't know when, so I'm putting spring of 2026. We know we're getting a second season of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man and X-Men 97. And we kind of know when Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 2 is coming out, because in a recent article, Brad Winderbaum said, we will have to wait a little bit more than a year for Season 2, but then after that, it should come out on an annual cadence, hopefully. So that means that Season 2 is going to be a little later than we got Season 1, and that's why I'm going with summer of 2026. X-Men 97 Season 2, I'm just putting fall. I hope it comes out sooner. I really want to see that season. And then I'm still holding out hope we're going to get a Champions/Young Avengers TV show. I mean, notice, there's nothing else in 2027 that's live action. We'll probably get Season 3 of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man and X-Men 97, but there's no other live action shows planned, and they have been teeing this thing up forever. Okay, let's talk about Brand New Day. This is kind of exciting. Brand New Day originally was coming out after Doomsday, and I had done a video, check it out if you haven't seen it. In that video, I threw out a timeline of what year in college he might be depending on when the movie fits in the timeline. So if it's as late as 2028 in the timeline, he could actually be in his senior year of college, which is pretty crazy. So what's great news is, because Brand New Day is now happening well before Doomsday, it could happen anywhere in the timeline. It could happen right after No Way Home. It could fill us in on the gap, because we haven't seen Spider-Man in several years, right? It could fill us in on the gap of what he's been up to, and hopefully it will be a street-level film. So that's really exciting. Okay, so right now, this is the Phase 6 slate after some of this shakeup. But there's more. So now we need to talk about Phase 7. So Marvel had released 5 dates that were part of their calendar for Phase 7. However, they have now officially removed November 5th, 2027 from the calendar. So we got to get rid of that. But what's also interesting is they have not said anything about the July 23rd, 2027 date. Well, that now actually moves into Phase 6, right? Because that's before Secret Wars. So we have to move things around and add that to our calendar. Oh my word. Now, I don't think there's any chance we're going to get 3 Marvel movies, as well as 1 Sony movie, Beyond the Spider-Verse, all in 2027. That's not going to happen. Marvel is going to drop either the May 7th or the July 23rd, or maybe both. But for now, since they're both there, I'm going to put back in Doctor Strange 3, because I really want a time runs out movie to happen before Secret Wars. I'm not going to fill the July 23rd, because I'm just assuming that's going to get dropped. So let me know your thoughts on this. Do you think this means we are going to get a Doctor Strange 3 after all, or do you think they're going to get rid of both the May 7th and the July 23rd, 2027 dates? Really hope we get some clarity on that soon. But yeah, suddenly this looks like a pretty busy Phase 6. That's crazy, right? This is crazy. All right, so now let's go back to Phase 7. So we have these 3 dates that we're aware of in 2028. So for sure, the first one's going to be X-Men, right? They're going to kick off the quote-unquote mutant saga, Phase 7, with an X-Men movie. But I can also see Shang-Chi 2 and Black Panther 3, which have been discussed multiple times. I can see those filling those dates. Could go in either order, honestly. And then we still have all these other movies which have been discussed at different times. Certainly the top row is pretty likely. We have Thor 5, Scarlet Witch movie, that would be awesome. Blade, please give us Blade. A Midnight Suns movie, Spider-Man 5 and 6, we know those are coming. And then maybe less likely, but I'm still holding out for a World War Hulk. There was discussion of an Avengers Forever. No, I don't think we're ever going to get Eternals 2, but you never know. Armor Wars and Nomad probably ain't happening. But hey, I'm keeping them on the list until Marvel says they're officially not happening. And then, speaking of potential things, we've heard lots of TV shows, particularly Nova. I think Nova for sure is going to happen. Terror Inc., I don't know. I've never understood that one, to be honest. It sounds like Hawkeye Season 2 is not happening, at least not yet, until Marvel comes to an agreement with Jeremy Renner. And then all the rest of these, I mean, they've come up over time. I'd love an Agatha Season 2, for example, but we'll just have to wait and see. But I like to keep these on the list because they've all been things we've heard at least rumors about. Okay, so once again, here is the Phase 6 possible slate. This is what I think it's going to look like, but hopefully, we'll get official announcements by the end of the year. So leave me your thoughts, leave me your comments. You know I love to read and respond to everything. So don't forget, we have that contest. Be a subscriber, leave a comment, win a book or a steelbook. And there's the membership option in case you're interested in that. And then I always love to mention the Discord. Here we are in the news section talking about all of those big changes. And then I promised I would discuss the Doomsday Countdown watch. What's interesting is we now have an extra 7 months for the watch. So we've added in even more. So basically every date that you see here on the Discord at 7 p.m. Eastern, we'll be watching a different movie or TV show as we get up to the December 18th Doomsday release. Very exciting. So 2,200 members across the globe, conversations 24/7, and I'll leave a pinned comment so you can join. Also, if you don't mind, like this video, subscribe if you haven't already. You can check out more content, and we'll all continue to enjoy the ever-growing, the ever-changing Marvel Cinematic Universe.